In California, search efforts ongoing in Monterey County for a 30-year-old man who was pulled out to sea by a powerful wave just days after a child and father died at the same beach.
Waves around Big Sur are famously and impressively large, made bigger recently by storms. Over the weekend, a 30-year-old man was pulled out to sea by a wave at Garrapata State Beach, not far from where a 7-year-old girl was overtaken by a wave and killed on November 14th. Her dad died trying to save her. A Coast Guard crew this weekend reported seeing a man's body floating in the water but lost track of it and has been unable to find the body. Alex Stone, ABC News.
In Brooklyn, suspended Portland Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups pleaded not guilty today to 2 counts of conspiracy for his alleged role in a gambling scheme tied to the NBA. Billups was released on a $5 million bond. ABC's Aaron Katursky has more from the court.
The judge said that some of the defendants, at least, are potentially moving ahead with plea deals. We're not sure whether Billups would be one of them or whether it would be Damon Jones, who's formerly of the Cleveland Cavaliers. They, according to the indictment, were the face cards. They were the ones who used their celebrity to try and lure unsuspecting high rollers to poker games that were rigged, the prosecutors said, with X-ray card tables and altered shuffling machines and other technology.
Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
It's now 4:05. I'm Will Theorite with your local headlines as we begin KBNU's For the People show. Well, it was a tragic weekend. A second teenager passed away yesterday following that 2-vehicle crash that happened Saturday night in Providence. Utah Highway Patrol Lieutenant Kate Brenchley confirmed yesterday that C.J. Theafia, a 17-year-old of Avon, died at the scene of that crash, while Xylee Hutchison, a 14-year-old of Hiram, passed away at a trauma center yesterday morning. Now, the two were along with 3 other teenagers traveling northbound along SR 165 in a Toyota Corolla when the car lost control and skidded into the southbound lane where it was struck on the passenger side by a Toyota minivan. Now, the force of the impact caused the Corolla to roll, coming to a rest on its top. Brenchley said that none of the teenagers were wearing seatbelts, 3 were ejected, and 2 were pinned inside the wreckage. Now, the 3 remaining occupants were hospitalized in critical condition, while the occupants of the minivan sustained only minor injuries. Now, troopers say they are continuing to investigate speed as the primary factor of the crash. They do not suspect impairment was a factor. In other news, a 72-year-old man struck and killed by a vehicle while crossing a street in Provo yesterday afternoon. The Provo Police Department said they responded to the fatal crash at around 1 o'clock. According to the initial investigation, the 72-year-old man was crossing State Street on his mobility scooter when he was hit by the vehicle. Now, he was transported to the Utah Valley Hospital but succumbed to his injuries. Authorities have not released the victim's name yet, pending notification of family. The driver of the vehicle, meanwhile, remained at the scene and was cooperating with the investigation. And Danielle Staley, a Holiday, Utah woman who disappeared in California earlier this month, was reportedly found safe and without injuries. Now, that's according to the Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office, who made the announcement yesterday. Staley, who is 35, was located over 2 weeks after she was last seen near the Rio Del Mar State Beach Park in Northern California on November 6th. Now, at the time of her disappearance, officials had suspected foul play after her belongings were found abandoned on the beach. Now, the Sheriff's Office did not immediately release any details of how she was found, but expressed gratitude for the community's assistance, saying the deputies were pleased that she was located and is safe. Well, looking at a pretty nice weather forecast, at least for most of this week. as we're going to enjoy mostly sunny skies. Temperatures have been in the high 40s today. Tonight we'll drop into the mid-20s, be back into the mid-40s for tomorrow and Wednesday. Thanksgiving Thursday could be the nicest day of the week, as we're going to be in the low 50s before a chance of some showers begins Friday and continues into the weekend. And weather brought to you by Bell Sculpt. It's not just about changing how you look, it's about changing how you feel. Bell Sculpt can specialize in people getting back their self-confidence. Find out more by visiting their website, bellsculpt.fm. And I'm Will Feelright with your KVNU local headlines. I'll have another check of local news coming up at the bottom of the hour here on KVNU's For the People Show.
Roof Rescue is your local roofing specialist, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry no matter the weather. Their team of experienced roofers is here to serve you, providing top quality service at affordable prices. From minor repairs to complete roof replacements, they've got you covered. Remember, your roof is your first line of defense in protecting your family from the elements. So don't wait until the next storm to discover your roof problems. Call Roof Rescue today at 435-999-4268. They're your trusted local roofing experts, here to keep your home safe and dry. Roof Rescue, celebrating 10 years of providing watertight peace of mind.
Come celebrate a white Christmas with Anderson Seed and Garden. They are potentially giving away $40,000 in merchandise to the first 50 people who spend $500 or more on holiday and Christmas decor between now and November 28th. If it snows at least 4 inches on Christmas Day and you made a qualifying purchase, your purchase is free. But you only have until November 28th to qualify. Only at Anderson Seed and Garden, Logan. See store for official rules.
Aggie basketball is heard here.
You know, there's a pride in this.
KVNU is your station for the best game day coverage, with pregame beginning 1 hour before tip-off, play-by-play and postgame interviews, and Aggie call afterwards. It's Aggie basketball on News Talk KVNU 610 AM, 102.1 FM, online at kvnutalk.com, and the KVNU mobile app, the heritage home for the Aggies.
The Light the World giving machines are returning to Cache Valley, and it all kicks off Monday, December 15th at 6 p.m. on Center Street in Logan. Come enjoy an evening of live music, sparkling lights, and holiday fun. Bring your family and friends as we celebrate the true spirit of Christmas, giving, kindness, and community. Come light up the season with us, Monday, December 15th at 6 p.m. on Center Street in Logan. The giving machines will remain in Logan December 15th through the 31st.
KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency. So we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU 610 AM, 102.1 FM, online at 610kvnu.com and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. I'm Jason Williams. It is Monday, November 24th. Thank you for tuning in today. It is 45 degrees here at the Radio Ranch at 4:12 in the afternoon. And it is going to get a little cooler than that as we head into the weekend. So I guess enjoy the 45 degrees for the afternoon high, as it might be the highest. Still sunny, though, most of the day today, and beautiful outside. So, I don't know. It was a nice day. Coming up on the show today, Governor Spencer Cox joining us. This is now in its 4th year. As far as I know, we are the only organization to do this interview with him. And he's told me before this is his favorite one to do. And it is an opportunity, I think, to repeat it fourth year in a row. Now, I'll be honest with you, I get some criticism for this annual event. I've had people tell me before that someone said once, you've got the governor on the phone and this is all you're going to talk to him about? And I said, yes, because to be honest, I mean, I'm not trying to toot our own horn here or make it sound like we are, the most important media organization in Utah, although I think we are. I will say, it's pretty dang easy to get the governor on the phone. Any governor. This was something we experienced with Governor Herbert, not so much his predecessor. I'll just say that. Governor Huntsman was too good for Cache Valley Radio and most media organizations. But Governor Herbert was very accessible. Governor Cox has proven to be the same. So getting the governor by phone is actually not that difficult a thing to do. And we have opportunities throughout the year to talk to him on various immediate events that are going on. In fact, we'll be hearing from him again in January ahead of the legislative session, talking specifically about public policy. The interview we'll do with Governor Cox today is, again, an annual tradition here on the show. 4 years ago, we were talking about different ways to interact with elected leaders to inform listeners. And we thought, with the Thanksgiving holiday, it would be fun to get someone big, a United States Senator or the governor of the state, to come on and just do a What Are You Thankful For segment ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday. And I thought, there's no way they'll do it, but I'll ask. And so I reached out, and they said yes. Well, to be honest with you, what the governor actually said is that's all they're going to ask me, really. Because there had been some pretty big and even controversial stories in the news that few weeks. And I said, yes, that's literally all we want to talk to him about. We can talk to him about the serious stuff another time. And there are plenty of ways to make that happen. So it's not like this is a finite resource, the governor's time. Of course it is. But it's not like we wouldn't have a chance to talk to him about other stuff. We wanted to do something positive ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday, and something that fit with what the holiday's supposed to be all about, right? And the governor has agreed to do it the fourth year in a row. So we'll be talking everything. I've got some questions that were submitted by listeners if I need to throw them out there, but also the governor is literally going to list in what arguably was a tough year in several ways here in Utah. It was a tough year for the legislature. They got slapped by the courts again, and they're still kind of mad about that. A lot of Twitter temper tantrums have been thrown by elected officials in expensive suits the last few weeks. There was, of course, now this impacted all of Utah, not just the governor, but he had to be the spokesperson that the nation was watching in the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk assassination, the political assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. Because it happened here in Utah, the governor became the de facto spokesperson, and I can't even imagine what waking up one day to find out that's what you're going to be doing all day for a week would be like. The entire nation, waiting for you to speak. These press conferences every day as that investigation continued. Anyway, so the point is, it's not been just a rosy, peachy, everything went fine year in a lot of different ways. There were some bad news moments throughout the year, especially when it comes to Utah's long-term efforts to combat homelessness and deal with the housing crisis. That was kind of a running theme of this year, that didn't go as well as lawmakers and the governor had hoped. Obviously, some of their efforts to combat those challenges. The Great Salt Lake, things could have gone better. Things could have gone worse, too, in efforts to rescue the Great Salt Lake. I want to point this out. If Utah pulls this off, to contextualize all this, because let's be blunt, a lot of taxpayer money has been and will be spent here. A lot of toes are going to be stepped on. A lot of changes that are maybe not popular are going to be at least discussed, if not even implemented on a trial basis. None of this, no one should promise otherwise, but none of this is going to go just smoothly and easily with no debate or anyone yelling at anyone else. And that's an unrealistic goal. But if Utah pulls this off, we will officially be the first governing entity of any size, state, federal, or another country, because that's where the examples come from, that will actually have saved a declining saline lake. Saline lakes are fragile ecosystems, and once they get in what scientists call a bit of a death spiral, oftentimes efforts to rescue them are not successful. In fact, most often they're not successful. Well, I'll go even further. To date, no one has saved a saline lake from demise. It's happened in several other countries, and there is even an example in the northwestern part of this country, in the state of Oregon, where things didn't go so well for a saline lake. So what Utah's trying to do here is get way ahead of this, and that's something we're going to talk about the governor about, because they broke some ground on that this year. It's a pretty big deal. So what you're thankful for with Governor Cox coming up later on in the show. I wanted to just touch on this. I try not to focus on these things because they're tragedies and they're in the news, and most people have heard the details by the time I'm on every day at 4. But I wanted to touch on this one because it's been stuck on my mind, mainly because this accident was something that I actually got caught. I got caught in the traffic, the aftermath, not the accident itself. And it just, when you see it, I was stuck there for quite some time. I saw the lights, but usually in this little stretch of road through Providence, it's a fender bender, and they'll have lanes open, and so you slow a bit, but it's still the best route if you're headed certain directions. And I was with a timetable to keep. And by the time I got up and realized it was much more than a fender bender, it was too late. I was stuck in the traffic and had no choice but to kind of sit there and watch as we slowly made our way through and around the detour routes. And so, and I couldn't see details. All I could see, they'd closed the road both north and south on the highway there through Providence. They'd closed the road north and south of the accident on purpose. And this was SR 165. And the accident happened around 1800 south, so roughly in between two intersections. So they were doing their best, Highway Patrol there and others, doing their best to manage traffic. And we now know the details of this, that this was a vehicle that lost control, careened into oncoming traffic, and was struck on the passenger side by an oncoming minivan, a Toyota Sienna. The small car, a Toyota Corolla, traveling northbound, lost control. And anyway, so the details of this can be found at cachevalleydaily.com. But what we now know is that everyone in the vehicle, everyone in the Toyota Sienna, the minivan, with only minor injuries, everyone in the smaller car, the one that lost control and slid into the other vehicle in oncoming direction, every single person in that vehicle was seriously injured. 2 dead. The other 3 in critical conditions at trauma units throughout the northern part of the state after being transported by ambulances and life flight. The reason I bring all this up, the troopers said that it appears no one in the vehicle is wearing a seatbelt. One of the very young people who passed away was 14 years old. The driver of the vehicle, 17-year-old from Avon, died at the scene of the crash, pinned in the car. But a 14-year-old passenger passed away the next day, Sunday morning. 14-year-old passenger passed away Sunday morning at a nearby trauma center after basically suffering head injuries too severe to survive. And again, none of the teenagers in that vehicle were wearing seatbelts. 3 were ejected from the vehicle. 3 were pinned inside by the metal of the vehicle. That's the only reason they weren't ejected, is that they were pinned by the vehicle itself. And again, the driver pronounced dead at the scene, and a 14-year-old girl suffered major head trauma along with multiple breaks and fractures in every limb, and passed away Sunday morning due to basically the lack of blood flow causing her brain to hemorrhage, leaving no brain activity. I don't recite these details to be graphic or to be salacious about the details of the accident. I say this to say that, the only people not thrown from the vehicle were those pinned by the vehicle. The seatbelt is so important for a couple of reasons. This one, not being thrown from a vehicle, and the second reason, that if you're the driver, you are more likely to stay in control of the vehicle. If you lose control and enter a spin, or if you lose control and even start to roll, you stay in control because the seatbelt keeps you there by the steering wheel where you can at least try. Now, I have no information that tells me that was a factor here. In fact, it sounds like this wasn't, the driver being thrown out of the driver's seat, which can happen in a fender bender when the driver's not wearing a seatbelt. No information suggests that here, but there is definitely plenty of information, including the death of a 14-year-old, to suggest that seatbelts would have made a huge difference in this situation. There still would have been tragedy. It sounds like, based on the point of impact, there may have still even been death. But there would be, just wear your seatbelts, folks. It is such an easy thing to do. And I know when you're young, you're not thinking about these types of things. You're going to live forever, right? But this is a lesson to everyone out there with children who are just about to be or starting at the driving age, to adults who have been driving for decades. This is another situation where, again, there still would have been tragedy. There still would have been maybe even death, but less of it, and less injury for those still alive but in critical condition if everyone had been wearing a seatbelt. So, again, I bring this up just because I was forced, because I got caught in traffic, to kind of sit and watch this scene for about 7 minutes before I was able to continue on my way. And, it's just a tragic thing all around, but it should, for a lot of folks, really drive home how important that is. And a seatbelt is such an easy thing to do. I've gotten to the point where I don't even think about doing it anymore. It's just habit. And that for me came from a close call when I was a new driver myself, getting in an accident that wasn't my fault, but having the officer at the scene say, I didn't always wear my seatbelt at the time when I was a 17-year-old driver. And that day I had put it on. And I remember the officer at the scene saying, if you hadn't been wearing your seatbelt, you'd be dead. And just casually walking off. And that affected me forever. I'd never gotten a vehicle without a seatbelt since. I'm not sure that would have been the case without that close call. So, just remind your loved ones and you yourself, when you get in the car, just put it on. We'll be back right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU. Discount Tire.
So much more than a tire store.
Thanksgiving trips are coming. Please don't risk driving on worn-out tires. Get to Discount Tire and Automotive right now. Save up to $80 on a set of Michelin tires, or grab a $50 instant rebate when you choose Traction tires. They make it easy with layaway, no credit check financing, and 12 months, no interest. Stay safe, save money, and get ready for the season. Hurry into Discount Tire and Automotive today.
Discount Tire.
So much more than a tire store.
Grab a pen or hit record, Utah, because I'm going to tell you how much a loan at the DLC really costs.
Don't be broke,
Well, it's way less than most people think. A $500 loan at Dollar Loan Center costs $3.78 per day in interest. Again, a $500 loan will cost you $3.78 per day in interest. Need $1,000? That'll cost you $7.56 per day. If you need the loan for 10 days, multiply that by 10. There are no other fees. Keep it out a day, a week, a month, a year, whatever you like. First week's interest is even on us for all new customers. With new locations in Payson, Ogden, and Logan. Or check us out and apply online at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed by the Utah Board of Financial Institutions. Given amount based on biweekly pay frequency with 80% rated 275%. For additional cost information, call 866-550-4352. Subject to approval, limitations may apply.
Everyone has an estate, but do you have an estate plan? This is Jace Allen, Northern Utah's estate planning attorney. At Allen Law Office, wills and trusts are what we do. If you've been putting it off, now is the time to get it done. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones, protect your legacy, protect your assets. Start today at cashlegal.com or just search Allen Law Office. Wills and trusts are what we do. Allen Law Office.
The Above and Beyond Salute.
Hello?
Is Leslie Phillips there?
Yes, this is me.
I heard you're a preschool and daycare provider. Is that right?
Yes.
You've had quite an impact on some local kids, and every week we like to recognize heroes in our community. So I've got a $40 gift card for you to Firehouse Subs for going above and beyond.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot better than the peanut butter and jelly and macaroni and cheese I'm sure you have to cook all the time there.
Oh, for sure.
The Above and Beyond Salute on News Talk KVNU.
Some really cool news earlier today on a frequent guest of our show over the years. It's been a while because he retired, but for a long time, a man named John Paul Murphy, or JP, as we always knew him, was a somewhat regular guest here on the show talking about and promoting 4-H programs here in Utah. And he was, apparently nobody knew this until the announcement today, but apparently he was nominated recently by some colleagues, specifically Assistant Director of the Utah 4-H program statewide, Craig Dart. And Dart accepted the award on his behalf due to some unexpected health challenges that Murphy was experiencing. Temporary, he'll be fine, he said, but it made him unable to actually get to the ceremony himself. But he was officially inducted a Utah State University Extension 4-H Youth Development Specialist was JP's full title for years. For over 40 years, he worked in Utah 4-H programs in some capacity or another. But he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, the 4-H Hall of Fame. This is a national Hall of Fame. And Dart said JP, John Paul, is a 4-H legend, not just in Utah, but across the nation. He said we had so many people, and some that I even spoke to at the awards ceremony last week, who have deep respect and appreciation for the work he's done. And he had a gift to inspire. He said he could have you rolling out of your seat with laughter 1 minute and then crying the next. And kids responded to that personality. He said he knew how to motivate young people and how to help them realize that there is hope and you can do better to achieve your dreams. He was an inspiration, not just to the young people he helped to mold as a 4-H leader, but also all of us, his colleagues. He truly lives and breathes 4-H green. The 4-H Hall of Fame has been around since 2002, and it recognizes 4-H volunteers, extension professionals, university staff, donors, high school staff and donors. It just a way to recognize those who have helped the most. But this is one of the coolest parts. I remember JP telling us this here in the studio years ago. But the way he got involved in this is he said when he was young, and I didn't know the exact year, but the details here in the story at cashvalleydaily.com, according to Dart, Craig Dart said that JP told him that when he was 14 years old, he had a mentor named Kim Benson, who just one day asked, "What do you want to do with your life?" And JP said, well, I want to be like you. You've had a huge impact on my life, and I want to do those same things. And that person, Kim Benson, was heavily involved with 4-H. So Murphy went on to graduate from BYU with a bachelor's and a master's in youth development and recreation management, and then went to work for a bunch of different youth organizations, even some nonprofits. And then eventually, after he got some experience under his belt, 40 years ago, made his way to 4-H programs and stayed there since. So, a well-known Cache Valley personality, if you will, in the 4-H world, inducted into the 4-H Hall of Fame, a national recognition. And Murphy said, I love this quote. He said he was asked after the announcement that he'd received the nomination and been awarded the Hall of Fame for the Year award. And he was asked how it felt and if he had any, favorite phrases or advice that he'd garnered from his all these decades working with young people. And he said, same thing I say to young people, I say to adults, no matter what your age and no matter what your past has been, no matter how many spots there are on your past, you can have a spotless future. And he said that was something he tried to live by. And he also said he was self-deprecating about he had a bit of a belly at times in his life, and he said he would tell kids as they headed off to national competition or moved on to finish their careers in education or after graduating, he said, I would tell them all, remember, there's a fat man in Utah who loves you. And I remember him saying that here on our show years ago. So, yeah, just really, really funny. A touching story he told was a time helping a young person in crisis. Got a call at 4 a.m. from the sheriff's department. Said they had a young woman in crisis, and this was in Texas. But he knew her from his work, her time in 4-H here, and they got him on the phone at 4 a.m. And he was able to talk her down from a situation that could have ended very poorly, an attempt on her own life. At least she was threatening. And he was able to talk her down and actually got her help. And he said that they continued to talk for years after that. And last he'd heard from her, she was a happy mom with 2 kids. And he was glad he was there to help her in that, what he said was the darkest point in her life, at 4 a.m. when the Texas sheriff called and asked him to get on the phone with her. So, I don't know, just a really memorable person. If you ever have the chance to meet him, do so. Cache Valley celebrity, I would say, in the 4-H world. J.P. Murphy, John Paul Murphy, retired Utah State University Extension 4-H Youth Development Specialist, inducted into the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Details and JP's photo in the story at CacheValleyDaily.com, and we'll be back with more after this look at the news with KVN News. We'll feel right.
Well, thank you, Jason. Starting off in college basketball, it was a record performance by M.J. Collins Jr. to lead Utah State over Davidson last night at 94-60 to win the Shriners Children's Charleston Classic Tournament's low county bracket title.
14 for Davidson. So the 38 points for Collins is tied for the most in a Charleston Classic game ever. He has tied. Well, now he's just passed Carl Jones of St. Joseph's.
Now, Collins Jr., a South Carolina native, earned tournament most valuable player honors after his career night, which broke the 14-year tournament scoring record. He scored 22 points in the first half and then added 18 more in the second. Head coach Jared Calhoun after the game said the Aggies' mission in going to this tournament was to make a name for themselves, especially in the South.
Yeah, I mean, we were on a mission, right? I mean, this was a chance for us to make a statement, not only, for ourselves, for our team, this group, and our fans. We had so many parents here. I thought it was incredible, the amount of parents that made this trip, but really for the Mountain West. We want to build our resume, and we're kind of tired of people not taking us serious.
Now, the Aggies remained in control throughout the game. This marks Utah State's fourth MTE tournament title in the past 5 years. The Aggies are returning home now to host Montana State coming up on Saturday. Well, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints celebrated the completion of its new Institute of Religion over the weekend with an open house and a dedication that happened last night. Now, the new facility, located at 600 Darwin Avenue near Utah State's Logan campus, replaces the original structure that was removed in 2023. Now, it's projected to provide gospel-centered education and social connection for approximately 10,000 young adults each year. Now, according to Andy Bryan, who is the Logan Institute of Religion director, he said that the new building will stand as an innovative place for learning, worship, and belonging. And a domestic violence call escalated into a standoff over the weekend, resulting in a southern Utah SWAT team being deployed and having to use chemical agents to arrest a suspect who had barricaded themselves inside a residence. Now, police responded to a domestic violence report near Painted Hills Drive and Sand Rio Drive in Ivins. Now, according to Chief Jaron Studley of the Santa Clara Ivins Police Department, the suspect had refused to surrender, prompting the SWAT team to respond. Now, SWAT personnel successfully breached the home and then used chemical agents, leading the suspect to exit and be taken into custody. The suspect, who was not significantly injured, was transported to a hospital as a precautionary measure before being booked into jail. Well, we've had temperatures in the mid-40s today. Tonight we'll drop back into the mid to low 20s overnight. Clouds are going to start clearing out, and that's going to lead to mostly sunny skies tomorrow and continuing through Thanksgiving Thursday. As temperatures will gradually warm up, we should be in the low 50s by Thanksgiving, and then a chance of some showers coming Friday and into the weekend. And weather this hour is brought to you by Edson Builders. Two of Cache Valley's best builders, Edson Builders and Innovative Home Finishes, have recently teamed up to give you a better building experience. Give them a call today at 232-2680. And I'm Will Feelwright with your KVNU News headlines.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona pushing back after the Pentagon launched an investigation after he participated in a video with fellow veterans telling active duty service members they don't need to follow, quote, unlawful orders. ABC's Louis Martinez on whether the retired Navy captain could face fines or court-martial.
We talked to a former military lawyer who told us essentially that when you go to a trial, which is a court-martial, you're going to have to, like in any other case, prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt, and that when you're having a case that touches on public discourse, that's a very difficult thing to do.
AAA projecting near record travel this Thanksgiving. Tomorrow expected to be the busiest travel day for air travel during the holiday period. And at the White House, Christmas is in the air. First Lady Melania Trump received this year's White House Christmas tree, the Concolor fir from Corson's Tree Farm in Michigan, and will stand 25 feet tall. This is ABC News.
We all have that one spot. No matter how much you diet or exercise, it's still there. Whether it's your belly, your arms, or your thighs. At Bell Sculpt, we help you finally get rid of it. Our advanced body sculpting and cosmetic surgery options target those stubborn areas for good, giving you the confidence you've always wanted. Call Bell Sculpt today or visit bellsculpt.fm to book your free consultation. Bell Sculpt, your body, your way.
Bringing Wall Street to Main Street. From your local experts in downtown Logan, this is the Adams Wealth Advisors Market Report.
Good afternoon. This is Mitch Green with Adams Wealth Advisors. Stocks began the week with a superb performance on Monday. A significant, broad-based rally took place after several Federal Reserve speakers injected new hopes of a December rate cut, along with a possibility that the central bank could reverse its balance sheet runoff and inject more liquidity into the system. The Dow Jones Industrial Average edged up 203 points to 46,448. The Nasdaq rose a whopping 2.62% to 24,874, while the S&P 500 posted a gain of 1.55% to 6,705. Consumer discretionary and energy were the only sectors that finished the day in the red. All other sectors ended the day with gains, led by technology, which returned 2.38%, followed by consumer staples and utilities, both of which posted gains of more than 1%. Because the rally was largely driven by expectations of increased liquidity, the Treasury market also saw gains. The U.S. 5-year Treasury yield declined by 2 basis points to 3.6%, and the 10-year yield fell 3 basis points to 4.03%. Other assets associated with risk-on sentiment also performed well. Bitcoin rose by 5.42%, and Ethereum, and crypto, also gained 8.45%. It is worth noting that the divide among Federal Reserve voting members has been widening, especially since the government shutdown delayed the release of important economic data. While the September jobs report continued to suggest a slow deterioration in the labor market, we have not received any strong indication regarding inflation. Tomorrow, however, we will get the Producer Price Index, which may help partially address these concerns. Retail sales and home sales data will also provide insight into the state of the U.S. economy.
That's your update from Adams Wealth Advisors, guiding your financial future one day at a time. For personalized help planning yours, reach out to us at 435-752-1702. See you soon, Cache Valley. Advisory services offered through Adams Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. For important disclosures and more information, visit adamswealthadvisors.com.
From all of us at Circle B Irrigation, thank you. We've been named the gold winners in hardware store and implement dealers, as well as silver winners in equipment sales and rentals and farm store in the best of northern Utah. It's all thanks to you. We couldn't have done it without you and your support. Come see us in the highway in Hyde Park.
Join us all month long for the Season of Giving sales event at Murdoch Hyundai. It's time for us to say thanks the Murdoch way by giving back to the community that has given us so much. During the Hyundai Getaway sales event, receive 0% for 5 years on the Tucson or Santa Fe. Every new Hyundai comes with America's Best Warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty, and owner's assurance. When you walk through our doors, you feel like family. At Murdoch Hyundai in Logan, Linden, and Murray, and online at murdochhyundai.com.
Call 888-391-6083 or see dealer for complete details. Offers expires 11/30/25.
I feel tears welling up cold and deep inside like my heart sprung a big break.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Fireworks, again, it just never stops with this whole Prop 4 thing. Signature gatherers for the Repeal Prop 4 effort that has been headed up by basically Utah GOP Chairman Rob Axson, but they've hired an out-of-state company to pay to collect signatures, seeking to undo the 2018 ballot initiative approved by voters throughout the state that year to create an independent redistricting process, which is basically what has led us to, the 2020 redistricting. Lawmakers ignored the independent process created by voters via the ballot initiative, and then someone sued, and they were successful in court because the court said, look, voters have the right constitutionally to create or change law via the initiative process, and they did that, and the legislature can't just pretend it didn't happen. That was last summer, and then this summer they said, okay, because of that ruling from the state Supreme Court, you got to redraw the maps, and so the legislature redrew the maps, but then the court said you're still not following the guidelines of Proposition 4, the Better Boundaries Initiative, passed by voters in 2018. And the deadline's coming, so we're picking a map for you. And so that brings us to now. And Rob Axson, chair of the Utah Republican Party, announced that he, and it kind of sounds like right now it's mostly just him. Not that he's been careful to say I'm not speaking for the rest of the party here. Though I am the chair, I'm not speaking for the party, is I think how he put it. But basically, he has worked with members of the legislature who are, of course, very angry over all of this because how dare the courts slap their hands and tell them they can't do stuff because there's a constitution, right? But they are saying, okay, fine, if the courts are going to say we have to abide by the initiative process, we're going to run an initiative to repeal the initiative. I don't think they'll be successful, but I don't know. Opinions do change, and it was passed by voters in 2018. But I think people tend to be sympathetic to the idea of independence, especially here in the West, Intermountain West. But I think for most people, the explanation that if your politicians get to draw their own political boundaries, they can ensure their reelection, and that's, you should have an independent process behind that, not a political one. I think most people are responsive to that, so I think this is a hard sell for the backers, but they launched the effort. Now news today that they are being accused of deceptive practices, which is ironic because that's the claim that many lawmakers have said is that, to be honest with you, what many lawmakers have said should be offensive to Utah voters, because what they've said is that voters didn't know what they were signing when they signed to get Prop 4 on the ballot as they were collecting signatures in early 2018, and then it was put on the ballot for people to vote on. And people approved it by more people voting for it than against it statewide. And the critics have said, well, voters are they're dumb. They didn't know what they were signing or voting for. I don't think that's true, and it's not a winning message, but it's what they're going with. And so they're trying to repeal it now, putting it to a test, and I think that's fair. It was put on the books as statute through the initiative process. If someone wants to test it, 8 years later through the initiative process to see if voters still want to keep it, that's fair. That's fine. But what isn't fine is deceiving people to get their signatures, to get it on the ballot, to put it to a vote in the first place. And that's what this out-of-state company hired by the Utah GOP has now been accused of. Someone had a recording, basically. This is from KSL News in Salt Lake, reporting this today. Someone has a recording of one of the paid signature gatherers saying, oh, no, you're signing to defend Prop 4. Now, again, what they're actually signing is to put it on the ballot to ask voters if you want to repeal Prop 4, the independent redistricting proposition passed in 2018. But someone has a recording of multiple signature gatherers telling them, no, this will protect Prop 4. This keeps the independent process in place. Go ahead and sign here, which is obviously not true. This audio was released by, I lost her name now, Elizabeth Rasmussen. She said that it was turned over to them at Better Boundaries. She's the executor there, by two recordings, one by a Salt Lake resident and one by a Summit County resident, who recorded their interaction with signature gatherers paid on this Repeal Prop 4 effort. So official complaints have been filed, but those were just filed today. The audio of the recording of the conversation was released to the media, and they said the official complaint will take a few days before the Lieutenant Governor's office responds. But law does require that the signature packets that you actually sign have the exact name of the entity backing the initiative. And so they said that if you're signing and you don't want to be duped, of course you can read the whole initiative. That's time consuming. They have bullet points that can be useful unless they're faking it. So Lieutenant Governor's office offers this simple advice, that the title of what you're signing legally has to appear on the signature packet. And they also said if you see one that doesn't have this, please report it, because that is illegal. But the title of the Repeal Prop 4 effort is Repeal of the Independent Redistricting Commission and Standards Initiative of 2018. So if you see that, what you're signing is to repeal that 2018 ballot initiative approved by voters, regardless of what the person collecting signatures tells you it's about. So useful advice. I actually didn't know that. I didn't know that that was the one legal requirement in the language, is that the title has to appear on every signature packet. So it has to appear at the top of where you actually sign your name next to all the other signatures. So that's good. As for a response, Rob Axon said they have contracted and are paying an out-of-state company and declined further comment, saying he'd leave it up to the Lieutenant Governor's office to investigate whether signature gatherers for the Repeal Prop 4 effort he's backing were using deception or whether it was just miscommunication. Although I listened to the recording, it's pretty clear it wasn't miscommunication. I mean, maybe the person being paid to gather signatures had no idea what they were gathering signatures for, but they should be trained at least enough to know what it does and what its title is. And you hear in the audio the signature gatherer telling a woman, oh, no, this doesn't repeal Prop 4. Yes, it does. This protects Prop 4. No, it doesn't. One day maybe we should have a conversation about paid signature gathering. Maybe there should be a rule in Utah that you've got to do it through volunteers or not do it at all. But then again, maybe that doesn't solve the issue. I don't know. It just makes me nervous when there's an incentive to gather signatures and your paycheck gets bigger if you gather more. I think it incentivizes people from out of state who don't even care about the outcome lying to people here in Utah to get a signature. So maybe that's the conversation the legislature should be having in the session this January. I don't know. We'll see. We'll be back with more of For the People right after this.
The Light the World giving machines are returning to Cache Valley, and it all kicks off Monday, December 15th at 6 p.m. on Center Street in Logan. Come enjoy an evening of live music, sparkling lights, and holiday fun. Bring your family and friends as we celebrate the true spirit of Christmas, giving, kindness, and community. Come light up the season with us, Monday, December 15th at 6 p.m. on Center Street in Logan. The giving machines will remain in Logan December 15th through the 31st.
This Christmas, consider a beautiful heirloom gift from S.E. Needham Jewelers. Choose from a large selection of art from our Logan Fine Art Collection. Discover original works by local and regional artists, from stunning landscapes to modern art. This is art that commands attention and ignites imagination. Browse unique gifts of fine clocks, jewelry boxes, and Yadro figurines. Come see Logan Fine Art inside S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
Not sure what to give for a holiday gift for family or employees? How about a gift card to Beehive Pub and Grill? Receive a voucher for a free gelato with a $25 gift card purchase, or a voucher for a free burger or sandwich of your choice with a $50 gift card purchase. Take care of your coworkers, employees, and family with a gift card from Beehive Pub and Grill. Open 11 to 8:30 weekdays and 11 to 9 Friday and Saturday. Beehive Pub and Grill is perfect for the holidays.
Hi, this is Brad Franke, Operations Director at CAPSA. This year, I invite you to make giving part of your family tradition. At CAPSA, every act of kindness, whether it's your time, donated goods, or a financial gift, helps survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault rebuild their lives. Give together as a family and make a lasting impact on your community. Because when one family chooses to help, another family gets the chance to start again. Visit capsa.org/donate to see how you can make a difference today.
Looking for the perfect gift for family or friends? Visit Cox Honey Land and Gifts on South Highway 89, Northern Utah's premier gourmet honey and gift store. Discover unique items like ornaments, Christmas decor, wreaths, figurines, homemade fudge, and honey popcorn, all in a variety of price ranges. Plus, choose from an assortment of honey varieties and create your own custom gift baskets in a relaxed atmosphere. Enjoy free gift wrapping and shipping anywhere you need. Sweeten your winter season at Cox Honeyland, 1780 South Highway 89. Call 752-3234 for more details.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Tuesday on This Morning, America's First News. The abrupt resignation from Congress by Trump loyalist Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia raises questions about the future of the MAGA movement ahead of next year's midterm elections. We'll have analysis. Also, the new movement among some conservative women. Kids first, career second. And 4 money moves to make before the end of the year. Tuesday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Coming up later in the show, I'm just going to tease this now because it's that cool. Not that it's not going to be cool to speak with Governor Cox. We'll start the hour that way next hour. talking to him about what he's thankful for this year, some of the highlights from the last year in what was admittedly a tough year in at least a couple of different ways here in Utah. There was a lot to actually be pretty thankful and excited about. So the governor will talk to us about that, his list ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday, if you will, coming up, starting the hour. After that, a gigantic report was released today by the Kempsey Gardner Institute, and I'm really excited to talk about this. They're trying to do the impossible, to quantify the unquantifiable, which is to look at the big, broad picture on college, and I would say this applies to high school sports as well, but they looked primarily at Utah's 6 big ones, 6 big universities, to try and quantify not only the financial impact, but the cultural impact, the academic impact, the social value was a word they use in the report, of college sports. And it's fascinating. It shows, of course, the ripple effects economically of a college lacrosse club or hockey club or the football team doing really well, men's and women's teams. It mentions the growing price tag for universities to pay and retain coaching staff. It mentions the settlements universities have lost for name, image, and likeness suits over the last couple of years. Look at those like one-time costs, though. Those will stop eventually when they get that's bugs ironed out in that system. And then it looks at the impact on students as well. It even surveys alumni of Utah State University, University of Utah, and others. It's a fascinating report, and we'll talk about it in hour 2 of today's show after our chance to speak with Governor Spencer Cox, asking him simply, what are you thankful for this year? That's next here on KVNU Logan.
As our world changes, we'll keep you up to date. News Talk KVNU Logan, 102 FM, 610 AM, the voice of Northern Utah.